Dr. Lisa Folden is a licensed physical therapist and mom-focused lifestyle coach. She is the owner of Healthy Fit Physical Therapy and Wellness Consultants in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she is one of our 2021 Hurt Expert panelists. We're so honored to have her on the team this year. She works with clients recovering from orthopedic and neurological injuries. And additionally, this is my favorite part, she is busy moms that are seeking a healthier lifestyle by guiding their food, exercise, and wellness choices through optimal organization, planning strategies, and holistic goal setting, which is just all my language. I love all of it. And that's actually what we're here talking about today with Dr. Folden, specifically creating a space for yourself as a mom. So Dr. Folden, why is it important to create a space for yourself as a mom?
That's like a big thing these days. It's kind of like body positivity or self-care, like those buzzwords. Like taking up space is like sort of a buzz statement these days. And when we talk about it, we mean it literally and figuratively. But the reason I think it's important to have a physical space is because we're worthy of that as moms, as the centerpiece of the family, the one who holds it all together. Like I hear so many husbands who have like man caves, right? Or converted their garage to a shop, or they have a shit. Like men have spaces all the time. It's like the norm. Kids have spaces. I was the oldest of 6. We had like 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. So it was way different. But now that I'm an adult, each of my children have their own bedrooms. So they have it set up how they want. Then they have a playroom with a TV and toys. So everybody has a space. It's like a norm for the family. And I think sometimes we just delegate the mom to the kitchen. And for me, as much as I love a beautiful kitchen, the kitchen reminds me of work. It's like the work I have to do. So I think it's really important that we go beyond defining ourselves just by our roles as mother or wife, partner, and create a physical space that speaks to us. I think it's important. And I think each of us are worthy of that.
How can this practice of creating a space for yourself as a mom contribute to self-care?
That's a great question. And I like that because sometimes we see self-care as this luxurious thing. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the spa and I'm going to get a manicure, pedicure, facial. I'm going to have $1,000 bill when it's all said and done. Well, that's cool. And if you can do that, absolutely, indulge. But that's not everybody's reality. Everyone doesn't have that time or those finances, to make that their self-care routine. So I'm really big on finding, like we mentioned earlier, little pieces of sunshine that you use as self-care throughout the day. Self-care is supposed to happen daily, all the time. And it can be like seeing something beautiful, a good fuzzy feeling, talking to a girlfriend, the feeling of relaxation. So all of that is self-care. And I think that having a space that you look forward to being in and working in or sleeping in or praying in or stretching in, whatever you want to do, it contributes to your self-care because it reminds you that 1, you're important, 2, you're worthy, you deserve this. And, 3, you can take ownership of something and have something that's just yours. It's not for the kids. It's not for the spouse. It's for you.
Now, Dr. Folden, you brought up money though.
Yes.
You brought up some issues with money, and we just finished up a renovation project. And I know that if I went to Noah right now and said, I want to make a mom space, he would look at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
Is this something that you can do with limited space and money? And, what can it look like in a home that already has all these spaces and locations filled and don't have a lot of money?
Yes. So that's perfect. So you can create a space for yourself with no money, to be quite honest, or a very small amount of money. It doesn't have to be a whole room. It can be a corner of a room, literally. It can be a closet that you gut. It can be whatever little corner of space you have. It can be outdoors, your deck, your patio, your front porch. You can create this space for you. I mean, think about it. It's just for you. You're just one person. So it really only has to accommodate you physically, and then incorporate things that, you appreciate or things that bring you joy or make you happy. So you have to think outside of the box. And in some cases, it's multiple areas. So I'm actually in my office, my home office that I love. I created it for myself. but it's kind of in the center of the house. So the dining room is in front, the kitchen is over there. So if people are here, I can hear them. Well, guess what? I also curated a small space on the back deck that's really, not that no one can come out there, but it's really a place that brings me joy and makes me happy. And then we have a really large master bedroom. So I kind of curated the sitting area in there for my needs more so than my husband's, because he has a big space in the basement that he rarely uses since I've curated my space, I'd like to add, but whatever. But you can totally do it. You can do it however it works for you. It does not have to be anything big or fancy. DIY stuff, use stuff you already have, repurpose things, and make it work for you.
One of the things that I struggle with in my house is when I'm in my space or looking around where I am. So for example, you said you have a little corner you can do a corner of a room. Mm-hmm. Or you have your office. So when I'm in a space, I look around and it just reminds me of all the things that I have to do. So if I'm in my room and I have a little safe space, I might look across and see a pile of laundry. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm in my office, I look at my computer and I'm like, oh, I've got a lot to do there. Will you share your top 3 tips or considerations for creating this mm-hmm. space?
Absolutely. So my first one is kind of along the lines of what you're saying. I want you to consider where you can best set a boundary around your self-care. So like I said, I'm in my office. I love it. My kids are 10, 8, and 6. I can kind of shoo them like, okay, look, mommy's busy, get out. And they've understood that. They know when I'm doing something, I'm busy or I need some me time. But I understand that, kids, family members, partners, they can be a little bit overbearing and want to come into your space a lot. And I think it's important for you to consider how you can set a boundary and say, okay, this may not be the best place because I'm right on the main floor with everything that's going on. It's going to be impossible for them to leave me alone. So my space might need to be in the basement where there's not a lot of traffic and it's a lot more quiet. So think about where you can set the best boundary. Is it your bedroom because there's a lock on the door? Is it your bathroom because there's a lock on the door? Or again, it's just not high traffic. But the first consideration is, where can I do this where I can set the best boundary around like this being my space? Please respect my space, give me my space, give me my time. Once you've done that, I think it's important that you consider what you enjoy doing. Make that consideration for your space. So is your space going to be about you completely relaxing? Is it going to be where you nap? You're going to need a comfy couch or bed. Is it going to be where you watch TV? Obviously, you need a TV or your iPad or something, plug socket nearby. Is it going to be where you sit and chat with friends or stretch? Maybe it's just a little corner of your bedroom on the floor with a yoga mat so you can stretch and move and breathe and meditate. Totally fine. So once you know where you can set a boundary, what it is you want to do, the last thing I tell people is to consider what brings you joy and what makes you happy, to look at. What do you want to see in this space? Is it nature? Like, are you big on, I've gotten into bird watching. I know I'm aging myself, but I think it's fun. So are you interested in nature? Then your space might need to be outside or maybe right by a big window. Are you into, the TV? Make sure there's a TV nearby. Whatever it is you want to see, fresh flowers, bright colors. Is there artwork or something you can put on the wall? Make the space friendly to you. It doesn't have to fit the whole design aesthetic of the rest of the house, but make something for you, and take ownership over that. So find where you can set your boundary, consider what you love to do, and consider what you love to see. And that should help you sort of map out where you can create this space for yourself.
I love those suggestions. That was great.
Thank you.
I'm not knocking bird watching at all. I enjoy birds. I love birds.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
I didn't know how beautiful they were. I guess I just never stopped to look at them really. But now I sit on my deck and I'm like, oh, like if a bird comes on the deck, I'm like, oh my God. Like it's so like a kid. It's really funny, but hey.
Right. So I'm assuming that what I might need to do is find a little space, a little corner, and just turn my back on things. Make Absolutely. It so that I can't see what I have to work on.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Because you're right. We can find stuff all over our house that reminds us of what we need to do. So yes, find a space where you can focus on outside or TV or beautiful artwork, and your back is to all the rest of the nonsense. If you can shut yourself off in there, awesome. If you can't, just hyper focus on what's important in that moment.
Well, Dr. Folden, this has been a joy. We completely appreciate you, and spending time with you is always lovely. So thank you
Thank
so much.
you. The feeling is mutual. Thank you.